Good morning. How is everyone doing? I was hoping to hear a little bit louder. Let's try again. How is everyone doing? Okay. And let's give it another angle, like we did yesterday. In a scale from 1 to 10, please raise your hand if you're feeling 9 to 10. Okay, great. Okay, so I think that's the energy we wanted to start with. So I think you all know me, but my name is Patricia Carnicero. I'm the Executive Director of the GX MBA program, and we're very excited to welcome you to what promises to be an extraordinary GX MBA journey. We have designed a packed agenda today to get you straight into action, a day filled with opportunities to learn, connect, and make the very best of your GX MBA experience. So fasten your seatbelts, remember to enjoy every moment, and let's make this day unforgettable. Do you agree? Okay, so it's my pleasure to introduce you to Lee Newman, Dean of IE Business School, to give the opening address. I'm gonna look for a definition for Lee. Okay, let's see what you think. A disruptor that rarely takes no for an answer, I think everyone that works with him, we might agree, secretly wants to be a director at a creative agency, a blues piano player at night, and a grand karate master on the weekends. Lee, the stage is yours.
Just to be clear, those are aspirational, right? So I'm not a karate master, nor do I play blues at night, but I'm working on it. Well, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. I think most of you raised your hand for the 9 or 10, feeling 9 or 10 question. Hopefully by the end of today, all of you will raise your hand. It's really great to have all of you here, and I think we have someone just got in this morning. Who's that? Someone from Miami, I heard? Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Let us know if you need any coffee. So, this is school, and we did tell you at admissions that you're in school now, right? So let's do a quick assignment. You won't be graded, but I'd like you to just take a look around to each other for a moment. I know you were with each other yesterday. So you're looking at people today, and you were with them yesterday. Some people who are going to be, most people who are going to be people that are going to be part of your network for life. They're going to be professional colleagues, people you can turn to in difficult and great times, and I think that that's a wonderful thing. And these are very intense programs, and you'll go through that together, and we know that it forms a lot of bonds. So you've passed assignment 1. Congratulations. Now let's move to assignment 2. Take a look around again. And as you do so, keep looking. I'd like to suggest you're looking at some antagonists, some potential rivals, some potential people with whom you're going to have some clashes, arguments, potentially serious frustrations. And that's important too. And some of the comments I want to share with you today are based on that. So hold that thought, and some of those people that you just looked at, you don't know who they are yet. But they're coming, and it's going to happen. So keep that in mind. And let me move the slide to this one. So the reason I mention that is because I think that this idea of the next best you is really important. How many of you have heard so far about the next best you? Raise your hand. Okay, not too many, so good. So I have something to share that's new. So this is what we do as a business school. It's not like our, just do it. It's not our tagline per se. It is, it's what we do. It's our mission. It's our purpose as a business school. And it's based on, I think, a very important and simple idea, which is that we are all works in progress, okay? I mean, all of you who are here for higher education, especially at this advanced stage of your careers, it's because, you want to move to some other place where you're not right now, right? So you're a work in progress, and you're looking to make that move. And so that's how we think about this idea of the next best you, and that's where we came up with it, was this idea that education is really about transformation. And even though transformation has become a bit of a buzzword, we take it quite seriously. And so the idea is that every one of you here today is here with your current you, right? Your current you has its strengths, right? The things you told us about in your application. I mean, you've all been successful in many ways in your lives and your careers to date. I would like to suggest that maybe all of you, and myself included, we all have little pesky gaps that we need to fill, don't we? we do, right? Some of those are business gaps, like, business acumen, right? And you're going to double down on some of the things in business that you haven't had as much time in your career yet to do in a formal way. But we also have gaps, let's say, on the interpersonal, behavioral, how we work in the workplace side of things, and that's what my remarks are going to be about. But the idea is that this program for you ought to be a journey from your current you, with all of its strengths and gaps, to the next best you, right? And we don't know what that next best you looks like. You may have some ideas, but we'd like you, starting today, to think about what is the next best you? What do you want that you to be? Who do you want to be when you graduate from this program? What kind of leader, what kind of manager, what kind of business professional, what kind of person, okay? And that's the idea of the next best you, and we take it very seriously, but it's a fun process, and it should be a wonderful process that you engage in on your own and also together. So it has three components, which you can see here, the next best you. So the first one is, I think, the most obvious one in some ways, which is your career. So you're in business school, you're going to get an executive MBA. And how many of you, just out of curiosity, are thinking about some kind of pivot in your professional lives? And this degree is part of that. Many hands up and a few maybe let's see. Statistics show that the maybe let's sees end up pivoting, but statistically, right? Not everybody, of course. But that's interesting, because I think probably 10 or 15 years ago, if we had asked that, if it had been you and I had asked the same question, many fewer of you would have said you're pivoting. Most of you would have said, I'm vertically ascending in my current role or my sector or whatever it is. And here you are, many of you saying you're going to pivot. So we're going to help you do that. So that's the career part, is this idea of business acumen, of exploring and discovering. Two other things I'd like, though, to plant as a seed for you to think about. First is that this program has a lot of what we call strategic foresight. And Lucia, who you'll meet next, or your vice dean, has designed a lot of things into this program to do that. Now, to give you strategic foresight, what is that exactly? Well, it's a little ethereal. It's not the easiest concept to grasp, but it's the idea that today, as business leaders and managers, we're living in a very complex world that changes really quickly, with many, many sources of disruption, right? AI, geopolitics, supply chain disruptions. We can make a very long list. So the idea of strategic foresight is to develop the very subtle skill of learning how to read the world, to learning how to make sense of complexity, learning how to make sense of complex things going on, and use that to make better decisions. It's very hard to make perfect decisions, right? But it's about deciding between things and making the better choice. And so strategic foresight is a lot about that, and you'll get a lot of that. So that's one thing that I think is a bit beyond what we would call the business acumen in the traditional sense. There's also something else which I think is more subtle, and that's what I want to focus on, which gets us more to impact and to purpose. So with your purpose, that's an important part of the next best you. So I think the main idea of that is that thinking about what motivates you, what are your passions, and how do you align your career and also your management, your leadership style with your passions? What gets you up in the morning? So if we all know from science and from our own experience that when we can align our passions, find meaning in the work that we're doing, it's much more fulfilling and we do a better job, right? So we'd like you to start thinking about the purpose part of the next best you. If that's interesting to you and that resonates in some way, start to think about what does that next best you look like in terms of purpose, okay, for yourself. Now, the other part of purpose we could talk about that I want to make contact with, and it relates to your impact, is your purpose with respect to others, right? And you are the most senior group of executives that we have in this institution in terms of degree programs, and we think you have an obligation to other people. So let me ask you a question. Raise your hand if you've had a manager at some point in your career or recently that you think did not take your best interest into account, that did not do a great job of developing you and managing you in a way that you were comfortable with. Raise your hand. Okay, two hands, right? And some of you are saying, well, it's not just one manager, it's multiple, right? So, that's the reality of the workplace. But I think we have to make a commitment to ourselves, all of us going through this program, yourselves, and of course we go through it with you, to not being those people, right? You all raised your hand. You've all had those managers. They're out there. And some of you might be that manager coming in here, right? And you may not even know it, right? Who knows? But probably you'll discover that as you go through the program. You'll get feedback from each other in a very safe place. So this idea of being the kind of manager that sends people home feeling great, that sends people home feeling like they're accomplishing something, that they find meaning in their work, that they're self-realizing, what things that they're interesting to them. That's the kind of thing we want you to start to think about. And that's the other side of purpose, not your purpose only, but your purpose with respect to others. Does that make sense? Okay, so things to think about there. But if you think about leadership and management as a profession, one could argue we're not doing very well. Okay, how many of you know the Gallup Global State of Engagement Report? Anybody ever seen that one? So they do their survey. It's used to be the Q10, then it's the Q11. I think it's now the Q12, 12 questions. But they do it globally. Gallup does massive studies, like millions of people. And what they pretty much find every year, forever, is that only 20 to 30%, depending on the country, of global employees say they're fully engaged in their jobs. They're coming to work, and it's really 100%. Okay, 20 or 30%. Okay, then there's, on the opposite side, there are, roughly, it depends on the country again, 10 to 20% of employees who are what they call actively disengaged. Anyone have an idea what that means? They're what? Passive. They're passive, okay, or they're looking to go somewhere else. But even worse, okay, and this is how they define it, sort of technical. These are the people that Gallup define as the people who come to work and their mission is to make a mess for everybody else. So they're actively trying to disrupt the work of others because they're very unhappy. And then there's that, so this is like the 10 to 15% on both bookends, and then the vast majority of people, it depends on the country again, but 60%, let's say, who are partially engaged, right? So they may be bringing them some things to work and they're doing a good job, but they're passive, they're looking for something else, okay? So, if you just take that data, and there's tons of other Gallup data about stress and anxiety in the workplace, if you think about us as a profession, as managers and leaders, we're not doing a great job. If the cure rate of doctors was that, we would throw them out the window, right? We can go somewhere else. We'd fire them, right? So I think we have a lot of work to do, and we hope that in this program you will take seriously the idea of coming out of here a version of the next best you that is the type of manager and leader really that is creating those engaged 15 or 20%, okay? That's a tall task. That's not an easy thing to do, but that's our hope for you. Because your actions have power. Your actions have power as managers and leaders and as colleagues. I always like to say, every day at work we get a dosage of blue and red pills, okay? It's not the Matrix, exactly. But the blue pills are what I call positive pills, and the red pills are negative pills, okay? And there's some fantastic research by a scientist named Barbara Fredrickson on the effect of positive and negative emotions on how well we work, how well our brains work, actually. And the finding is basically very simple, that roughly speaking, when the ratio of positive blue pills to negative red pills is high. So we're feeling a little bit more positive emotions every day, 2 to 3 times as red. Our brains work better, our behaviors are better, and we work better with other people and we get better results. That's a pretty simple fact, right? It's scientifically backed, and it's easy to take on board mentally, but how do you do that? How do we create more blue pills for people? How do we deal with the red pills better? And so I'd like you to think about yourselves with respect to these dosage of pills every day as chief behavior officers. Each of you could be a chief behavior officer, thinking about the role of leadership as designing workplaces where there's more blue and less red. Seems easy, but when's the last time you said hi to someone and asked them how things are going on the weekend? Some of you do it all the time, some of you don't do it, right? How do you deflate red when it happens? So those are interesting questions. You'll have classes that touch on these things, but a lot of these things you can practice on your own. So that relates to this purpose, and it gets us to impact. So impact we define not as social impact, that would fall under purpose. But impact for us is the skills you need to make a difference, to make things happen in a workplace, facing difficult workplace situations, and facing difficult people. So let me ask you another question. Can you think of a difficult person in your work life? Raise your hand. Okay, none of us want yours. He's raised his hand twice on every question. Okay, so he's got a lot of difficult people at work, including bosses that are difficult. But so we all can think of those difficult people at work. But let me ask you another question. No, what makes those people difficult? Just shout out some some of these bad behaviors that you say make some of these people difficult? Not collaborative. Lack of communication and transparency, all the things that go with that.
Negative.
What?
Very negative.
Very negative, right? Constant negative. Character. Too much politics. Sorry, did you want to say something? You had your hand up before.
Too much politics.
Oh, you said, okay, too much politics?
Lack of trust.
Lack of trust. Trust is a huge, important thing. He stole yours, didn't he? Lack of self-confidence, okay? And then, what else? Stubborn. Close-minded. Lack of commitment. Lack of education. Micromanaging. Bad listening. If you talk to people that work with me, they're all around here. I'm not a great listener. I work on it. I try my best. Not naturally a good listener. Okay, so, yes? Lack of integrity. Lack of responsibility. I mean, it seems like we could probably spend an hour here making this list. But let's take one step further and flip it around a little bit. Is each of us a difficult person for somebody else? Raise your hand if that's true. Let's start off the GX MBA with a little bit of humility. Right? Why? What are we doing? I mean, most of you raised your hands. So why are we difficult people for other people? What are some of the behaviors that make us difficult? I bet it's a very similar list. Lack of communication. Lack of communication, not building trust, creating politics, right? So we're here. I mean, that list that you said about other people is in this room, for sure, right? Probably every one of those behaviors is sitting in this room. So is it because we're bad people? No, it's because we're humans, and we're busy, and we're stressed, and our companies put KPIs on us, and bonuses, and lots of things happen. So what I want to suggest as my main takeaway for you to think about is that things are going to happen this year. I mean, we put you in teams. We have a lot of team projects, right? And who picks the teams?
No idea.
It's a secret algorithm, and they do it. They just didn't want to tell you. So we picked, we usually choose your teams unless it's like a project where you're getting together to choose something. But we choose the teams for you. So you're put with people that you didn't get to choose. And we give you tough assignments, relatively short deadlines, no budget, by the way, just like work. And by the way, you have your real jobs and you have your personal lives, which are going to disappear very quickly. And what happens in these types of situations? What happens when you take a diverse group of people, you're coming from all over the world, different styles, leadership, management, working, give you tough deadlines, you got a lot to do. Clashes, what? Pressure. Friction. What else? Turbulence. I like it to call it turbulence. So turbulence, friction, clashes, these things are all coming, okay? So the seed I want to plant is, what are you going to do when they happen? Because they will happen. I asked you to look before and hold on to this idea that someone you looked at around you is going to be your antagonist. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing, because maybe you can try out some new behaviors. Maybe you can lean into some of these conflicts in this program in a way you wouldn't do in the workplace because of politics and because of lack of transparency and communication sometimes that we have in the workplace. Maybe you can lean into these conflicts, turbulences, frictions, and stresses in this program in a way that you come out of it learning much more than you would if those same things happen in the workplace. Does that make sense? You have that opportunity. So we call them game-changing moments. So you might get some feedback from someone around you that says, you're being stubborn. Someone said stubborn before. You're being stubborn. I feel like you're closed-minded. You're not listening to the team. Or you're bulldozing over us and micromanaging us. And, by the way, we're executives too. So you're going to get that kind of feedback, I hope. I hope you will take the time and the little bit of interpersonal risk to give each other that feedback during this program, because it doesn't count for performance reviews, it doesn't count for bonuses, and it's gold when you give that to other people. So I hope that in this program you'll give each other that feedback, and when each of you get it, that you lean into it, treat it like gold, ask some good questions to the person rather than being defensive. Just say, well, how did I do that? When did you see me do that? Or how could I do better? And ask those kinds of questions in this program. I think if you do that, that could be one of the biggest boosters in your journey from the current you to the next best you, which is our goal for you. So think of this program as a lab. I mean, we'll give you some skills. You have many things that we give you in the program that are explicit, But what I'm talking about is really an implicit type of learning that you get from each other. And you're only going to get it if you give each other the feedback, if you treat it, lean into it and treat it like gold, okay, and take the time to think about what it means and drop your ego enough to change. How does that sound? Okay, so let me close. A couple of quick last thoughts. You guys you'll see the class profile in a minute, but you're coming from all over the world. Regardless of that, for all of you now, Real Madrid is your football team. And I don't care whether you like football. Real Madrid is your team. You'll have a chance to, I think caffeine might be one of your best friends in this program in some form. Churros and chocolate are also very good, so we hope you'll enjoy those. I think balance is probably one of your greatest enemies in this program, right? It's tough, and you'll hear more about that, but it's tough. I mean, you're in school doing an intense executive MBA. You have your work lives, you have your quickly to fade social lives, and you're going to have to balance it all, and that's probably one of the hard things. And what also makes it hard is that the deadlines in this program are a bit like ninjas. They're lurking. You don't always see them. Sometimes you forget they're there, and then they pop out and they hit you. So watch out for the deadline ninjas. They jump and they leap. And then last comment I just want to leave you with is I think probably the best lessons in this program will come from the people that you have difficulties with. And if you lean into those difficulties together, you both will come out with amazing learnings and come out better leaders. So have a fantastic journey. We know you have a choice in airlines, and we're glad you chose to fly with IE. We hope this is a fantastic journey to the next best you. Let us know how we can support you, and have a great period of time while you're here in your first residential. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Lee. I think I agreed in most of your comments, except the Real Madrid, of course. But, what?
What's your team?
Atletico, of course. Gael knows well. So anyway, I think we do hope you find many opportunities to find the next best you through the program, like Lee explained. And we're here to help you, and hope that you do put many blue pills in your teams, and that those comments are scaring you a little bit. You do use this program as a safe laboratory to actually, experiment, to grow, but especially to get along and support each other as we spoke yesterday, and have many, many blue pills throughout the program. So our next speaker is Lucia Gea. She's the Vice Dean for our MBA Global Online MBA and the GX MBA program, responsible for the academic design of the program. And I would define her as a mother of two, a marathon runner, a finance passionate, and a person who's a 9 to 10 and feels the energy of this room. So welcome, Lucia Gea.
Thank you, Patricia. So good morning, everyone. It's great to finally see you all here. Yeah, I had this time the chance to meet some of you personally and online some months ago, but we are finally here. And as we embark in this journey, it's a truly honor to be with you today. I'm full of blue pills. Sometimes I get some red. That's part of the journey, that's part of the life. But what I'd like to do with you today, this is going to be a very long day, right? We are going to have a lot of impact. We are going to get a lot of information. Lee made a great intro about the next best you. I had also some ideas around that concept, but he did it, and you got it. It's great, it's great. But I have three things I like to, my contribution in this day to you. So I have one ask, I would like to share one reflection, and I'd like to give you one advice. So as an alum from this house as well, taking my MBA many years ago, I'm not going to tell you how many, or you will count my age, I really would like to just, leave it to these three things. So my ask for you is, today is going to be a very long day, full of impacts. Just try to capture everything, It's only one time when it's going to be your first day here. So tonight, when you go back to the hotel and you're super tired, jet lagged, excited, just take some notes on your phone, on a notebook, about what impacted you, what resonates on your head today, what have you learned from each other, what were those emotions you felt. I think that's a good thing. later, when we are meeting in graduation, when we are just celebrating the end of this journey, you can just go back and you can take that back and think and see how much this has changed you. Okay, so that would be my ask. Let me go to my reflection. Okay, reflection has to do with one of the most demanded leadership skills today. If I would ask you, pick one, something that every company needs, every organization in this complex world needs, what would that be? Just guess. Adaptability. Agility. Visionary. Okay, all of those are. Communication. Mine starts with E. Very good. Who said that? Empathy. Empathy. The empathy. That ability, my youngest daughter says empathy is that we were made, 2 ears, 1 mouth, to listen twice as much as we speak. But empathy can be the anchor. It's the place where we can really try to understand each other, where we can collaborate, where we can really build truthful relationships. All teams need that. Empathy prevents us from making big mistakes, just guide us in this complex, turbulent world where we have a lot of differences, but as well a lot of things in common. So my reflection with you is, if we can explore that concept, if we can bring it to our day-to-day, if we can use it every time we feel like, oh, I'm struggling with my group, I'm not understanding why, someone else has got a different opinion. So just think about empathy, okay? I think it can be a very useful thing for us. My advice, as an alum, okay, as someone that was sitting there 20 years ago and just thinking, okay, what I want to do with my life, is the biggest return on investment. I'm a finance professor, so I'm sorry, okay, I'm bringing some already tough concepts here. But the biggest return on investment for you here will happen when you just, get out of your comfort zones. Expose yourselves to the unknown. Experiment. Focus on the courses and subjects you know less, instead of just trying to ride on the ones that you are an expert already. You are an expert already, so it makes no sense to put more time and effort on that. So I would say exposing yourself to the unknown, applying empathy in everything we do, and staying curious. Curiosity drives the world, okay? It's going to be 3 good things to really get a very good return on investment of this journey. So again, I think it's, I'm really, I get emotional in these openings. I'm very much looking forward to have the opportunity to interact with you, to work with you, to talk to you. And I think you are so, I'm jealous. You're so lucky to be here today. Enjoy the journey. We're going to be here with you. As Patricia said, we will never let you, down. We will never let you alone. And just give us your best of you. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lucia. We really hope that, through the program, you do find the skills to become those empathetic leaders that Lucia was talking about. And we definitely encourage you to, take every opportunity to grow, stay curious, and really take the knowledge and the interaction you're going to get from each other, because that's going to be one of the best learnings, as most of you were actually saying yesterday. So our last speaker for this opening ceremony, I think, needs no introduction. It's Jessica Alford. She's the Senior Manager for Admission and Enrollments. I think, practically all of you have met her, through the interviews. She has selected all of you, has formed and closed this amazing class. We hope it is the best class so far, right? Some of the alumni might not agree, but you might reach an agreement in the alumni panel that's coming next. But I think, Jessica, she's an enthusiast of education, of traveling. She loves these executive profiles and talks every day with so many amazing people like you. And, we are very proud of all the GX MBA classes that she has actually selected. So please, a great welcome to Jessica Alford.
Thank you so much. Welcome. It's so nice to finally get to welcome you guys to Madrid from all the countless conversations that we've had. And of course, I also want to say that while Patricia was, of course, talking about, my role in the admissions team, you guys are all here also because of a lot of work that you've put in, but also our recruitment team and a lot of people who work behind the scenes. So I'd also like to recognize them. Some of them are with us today. So thank you so much for the work that you've done, and you guys as well for making the journey here. So without further ado, I know that a lot of you guys are waiting to see a little bit as to, what's the makeup of the class. And I know that you've already had some time to meet yesterday, but I'm going to share a little bit of data about you guys so that you can learn about who you're going to be sharing the next 2 weeks with as well. So while some of our colleagues today are also connecting from online, I can say that you guys are a very robust group of 40 students. It was definitely a challenge to kind of get all of these flags in there, so I have to say thank you also to the team for helping me put this together. I also have to say that within my 7 years here, I don't think I've had this many nationalities in a class of 40 students. So 31 nationalities. I will say that there is somebody with 3 nationalities, which is probably the most that I've seen somebody hold. So you can figure out who's that person that collects passports. But one of the most diverse groups that I've seen in my 7 years here. Following up with that, this is where you guys are based. So despite the fact that you guys are coming from 31 nationalities, you guys are based all over the world. A good portion of you are across the European continent, also in the Africa and the Middle East, but also in Latin America, if you're looking at North America. Asia Pacific. So the fact that, one, your backgrounds are quite diverse, also where you guys are based is very diverse, which means that you're going to be bringing in a lot of different insights, a lot of different experiences that you're having from where you guys are currently living. And thinking about the universities. Some of you, I think this is the first time that you're stepping back into the university after quite some time. I won't say how many years for some of you, but just a quick snapshot of just a couple of the places that you guys are coming from where you've studied. So looking at, again, the diversity that you're seeing across different continents, across different areas of study. And looking at the mix of where you guys are coming from. So I would say you guys are 42 years old as an average class. We always talk about how there's a range of students, but as our dean said earlier, you are one of the most senior master courses that we have here at IE. And so what we're looking forward to is that you bring in all of that experience and have a little bit of that debate and a little bit of that approach in the classroom and kind of push back on professors. Around 2 years ago, I was studying my executive MBA. I just finished this past May. And I can say that the pushback and the conversations that I had with professors of people coming in and bringing in that experience was probably one of the biggest learnings. And so I want to make sure that you guys are also doing that, because while we have great professors, they also want to hear from you and they want to have you guys bring in that experience within the classroom. Academic backgrounds. So kind of going back to the universities, this was probably one of the most difficult slides for me to put together because you have all studied so many different areas that it was a weird way for me to go ahead and put together how to represent that. So no, how do I put this? It's no surprise that you guys are all coming from business backgrounds. So 30% of you have already looked at business at some point, some of them within your bachelor's degree, some of you already have master's degrees, but a lot of you are also coming from engineering, social sciences, hard sciences, looking at finance. So there's a lot of diversity as well. And so I'm going to challenge you to also look into people who have come from completely different backgrounds and to try to make those connections within the classroom as well. And also coming to the sectors that you all are representing. So if we're looking at, a majority of you are looking at banking and finance, but also some consulting, looking at technology, healthcare and pharma and consumer products. But if you add those together, that's not coming up to 100%. So again, the diversity is being represented all across the board. And finally, looking at the organizations that you all are coming from. So here we have some big names. We have banking, we have finance, and some of them are travel. But I also want to point out that some of you are coming from businesses that you've built on your own. And there's also a significant amount of entrepreneurs in the classroom. Some of you did not, I was looking at the class profile earlier, and some of you did not kind of mark that you were entrepreneurs, but I'm going to challenge you to kind of bring that also back into the classroom. Some of you have built impressive businesses and continue to build those businesses, and some of them on the side to what your actual corporate background is. But having a look at this, you can see that there's also a wide range of different companies, large, small, international organizations that are being represented in the classroom. And with that, thank you so much. You guys, I have to say this is a little bit also of an emotional experience for me, because it's nice to finally see you all together here in the classroom. Enjoy the next 2 weeks. Also remember, despite the fact that you've gone through the admissions process and you're no longer a part of our team, we're also a part of IE, and so if you ever have any questions or anything like that, our team is also here to support you. So thank you so much.
Okay, what a fantastic class. So my question to you is, are you ready for the next 15 months? Okay. So I want to say thank you to everyone, obviously to all the team that is also here and has helped, with the class and all the work behind the scenes, because, we have an excellent program management team that is going to be with you through the 15 months, and obviously all the commercial team, admissions, academic, communications. So the growth team, I want to thank you, everyone, for all the work behind the scenes, which is unbelievable. And, we're really proud of this team, but especially we're really proud of the class that is in front of us. So to wrap up this, opening ceremony, we're going to have now a class picture. And then after, I think all of you are waiting for the coffee and the drinks and the food that is waiting outside. After, we will come back here and we will have an alumni panel with people from other classes that want to share your experiences. I see some of them already in the back. Manu, so wonderful to see you. And you have the opportunity to ask them a lot of questions and, connect. And then we will have a program management session where we'll explain the dynamics and how we're going to work. And of course, lunch afterwards to keep connecting, sharing, and, just hoping that you're ready for what's coming next. So best of luck and welcome to IE. Thank you. Right. The picture, I think, is going to be outside. I think the photographer. So we'll go outside, all of us, to take the picture.